Daf Yomi Tractate Bava Metzia 31a Part 2 with the words Hachazira Uvarcha Hachazira Uvarcha. The Mishnah teaches in a case where one returned the lost animal and it fled, and he again returned it and it fled, even if this scenario repeats itself 4 or 5 times, he is obligated to return it each time. As it is stated, you shall not see your brother's ox or his sheep wandering and disregard them. You shall return them, Hashev Teshivim, to your brother. Deuteronomy 22, verse 1. The Gemara understands that from the use of the compound form of the verb Hashev Teshivim, the Mishnah derives that one must return the lost animal multiple times if it flees. The Gemara asks, a certain one of the sages said to Rava, say that from Hashev one derives the obligation to return the animal once, and from Teshivim one derives the obligation to return the animal twice. And beyond that, there is no obligation. Rava said to him, Hashev indicates that there is an absolute obligation to return the animal, even if it flees 100 times. Teshivim teaches another matter. I have derived only that one may return the animal to the owner's house. From where is the halakha derived that one may return the animal to his garden or to his building in ruins? The verse states Teshivim to teach that in any case, wherever one returns the lost animal, he fulfills the mitzvah of returning it. The Gemara asks, what are the circumstances? If those areas are protected, it is obvious that one returns the animal there, fulfills his obligation. If they are not protected, why is he considered to have returned the lost animal? It will just flee again. The Gemara answers, actually, it is a case where the property is protected, and this teaches us that we do not require the owner's knowledge in order to return the lost item to him. And this ruling is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Elazar, who says, every instance involving return of an item to its owner, for example, by a bailee or by a thief, requires the owner's knowledge that it is being returned, except for the return of a lost item, as the Torah amplified the halakha to permit multiple forms of return by means of the compound verb hashev teshivim. Among them, return without the owner's knowledge. Shalach to shalach. The Gemara cites additional mitzvot where the Torah employs a compound verb form, and the sages derived additional halachot from the phrasing of the verse. With regard to the mitzvah of dispatch of the mother bird from the nest before taking its eggs or fledglings, shiluach hakan, the verse states you shall dispatch the mother, but the young one take for yourself, that it may be well with you, and that you may prolong your days. Deuteronomy 22:7. The Gemara understands that from the use of the compound form of the verb shalach to shalach, the sages derive that one must dispatch the mother bird multiple times if it returns. The Gemara asks, say that from shalach one derives the obligation to dispatch the mother once, and from teshalach one derives the obligation to dispatch the mother twice. And beyond that, there is no obligation. Rava said to him, Shalach, Shaleach, or Shalach, Shaleach or Shalach? Shalach. Shalach indicates that one must dispatch the mother even 100 times. The Shaleach teaches another matter. I have derived only the obligation to dispatch the mother bird In a case where one takes the eggs or the fledglings and wants to take the mother bird for a non-compulsory matter, for example, to eat it. In a case where one takes the eggs or the fledglings and needs the mother bird for a matter involving a mitzvah, for example, the purification of a leper, from where is the halacha that he must dispatch the mother derived? The verse states, Tishalach, to teach that in any case, one must dispatch the mother bird. With regard to the mitzvah of rebuke, the verse states, Hocheach tachiach. You shall not hate your brother in his heart. You shall rebuke him. Hocheach tachiach. You shall rebuke your neighbor and not bear sin because of him. Leviticus 19:17. The Gemara understands that from the use of the compound form of the verb hocheach tachiach, the sages derive that one must rebuke another multiple times if necessary. A certain one of the sages said to Rava, say from hocheach, one derives the obligation to rebuke another once, and from tochiach, one derives the obligation to rebuke another twice, and beyond that there is no obligation. Rava said to him, hocheach indicates that one must rebuke another even 100 times. Tochiach teaches another matter. I have derived only the obligation of a teacher to rebuke a student. With regard to the obligation for a student to rebuke a teacher, from where is it derived? The verse states, Hocheach tochiach, to teach that one is obligated to rebuke another in any case that one warrants a rebuke. The Gemara cites additional derivations from a compound verb. Forms. If you see the donkey of him that hates you collapse under his burden, you shall forgo passing him by. You shall release it with him. Exodus 23, verse 5. I have derived only that one is obligated to help unload the fallen animal in the case where its owner is with it. From where is the obligation to unload? Unload in any case where its owner is not with it derived. The verse states, as of Tazov, indicated that there is an obligation to unload in any case. The verse states, you shall not see your brother's donkey or his ox fallen by the wayside and hide yourself from them. You shall lift them. Hakim takim with him. Deuteronomy 22:4. I have derived only that one is obligated to help load the animal in a case where its owner is with it. From where is the obligation to load it in a case where the owner is not with it derived? The verse states, Hakim takim, to teach that there is an obligation to load it in any case. The Gemara asks, and why does the Torah need to write the compound verb form to teach obligation in the owner's absence with regard to unloading, and why does the Torah need to write the compound verb form to teach obligation in the owner's absence with regard to loading the animal? The Gemara answers, they are both necessary, as had the merciful one written this halacha only with regard to unloading, I would say that one is obligated to unload the animal even when the owner is not present, due to the fact that in the failure to unload the animal there is potential suffering of animals and there is potential monetary loss, as the bird might be damaged or the animal might die. But in the case of loading, where there is no potential suffering of animals and there is no potential monetary loss, I would say no, there is no obligation to load the animal when the owner is not present. The Gemara continues its answer, and had the Torah taught us the obligation in the owner's absence with regard to loading, I would say that it is due to the fact that his action is rewarded with remuneration, as one is paid for loading an animal, but with regard to unloading, which is performed for free. Lost my place here. Which is performed for free. I would say no. There's no obligation to unload the animal when the owner is not present. Due to the impulse, due to unique element in each, both are necessary. The Gemara asks, and according to Rabbi Shimon, who says that even loading must be performed for free, what is there to say to explain why it was necessary to repeat the obligation with regard to unloading? The Gemara answers, according to Rabbi Shimon, it is not clearly defined which of the verses is referring to loading and which is referring to unloading. Had the Torah written one verse, it would have been interpreted to be referring to unloading, and one might assume that he need not load an animal in the absence of the owner. The Gemara asks, why do I need the Torah to write these two mitzvot of unloading and loading? And why do I need the Torah to write the obligation to return a lost item? Write one of them and derive the other one from it, as they are mitzvot to preserve another's property. The Gemara answers, both are necessary. As had the merciful one written only these two mitzvot of unloading and loading, one would say that it is due to the fact that in those cases there is the suffering of its owner and there is the suffering of the animal itself. But in the case of a lost item, where there is the suffering of its owner but there is no suffering of the lost item, I might say no. There is no obligation to return the lost item. And had the Torah taught us only the obligation to return a lost item, one would say that is due to the fact that the owner is not with it to care for it. This concludes part 2.